You don't mind talking about Star Trek, do you?
No, I love to talk about Star Trek.
Because I want to find out, everybody wants to find out what it's like being recognized, because obviously the young people recognize you and say Captain Kirk before they say Bill Shatner.
Yeah, I mean, it's marvelous. I mean, people just come up and say, you know, William Shatner and Captain Kirk, and I mean, one of the great moments in my life was walking in a park with my kids, and I was walking in a park, and a kid came up and recognized me, you know, and said, "Hi, Captain Jerk." You know.
Is that
how's Mr. Spark? You know?
Is that the shirt you wear on the show?
No, that's just a shirt.
Oh.
That's an old thing. It's a rag I
But
just
you do
brought.
wear something similar to that.
Well, it's a crew cut thing, but or I don't know, a turtleneck, a mock turtle. They pretend it's a turtle.
Haven't the Star Trek scripts required you to play variations of the Captain Kirk character?
Well, yeah, I mean, I've had a lot of things.
You played a woman once. I know about that.
Yeah, I've had a lot of things to do. I know a lot of series actors say how bored they are with being on the series after a couple of years, you know. But I've had a lot of challenges.
What was the biggest challenge?
I've had a number of them. There was one where I had to play two Captain Kirks, the evil Captain Kirk and the good Captain Kirk. The idea of the show being that we need both sides of our nature to be a whole person. And as I was telling you the other day, Mike, you have to work by instinct. You have to select something quickly, because the shows are done in 6 days. You don't have time to rehearse, see what works, what doesn't work. So I had to play an evil Captain Kirk, so I chose like an animal, you know. And
what, any particular animal?
Well, no, I thought of it, maybe a cat. And I made the movements kind of cat-like. You know, you're laughing.
No, I'm not.
I will kill you.
I was just going out to get your food, is all.
Just get me some catnip. You know.
Why did you pick the animal that you did?
Well, I had an idea that the evilness is kind of like claws. You know, it would be things like moving around. It was a Jekyll and Hyde kind of character, and the good guy I played very cold and very like Ramrod. You know. That was that kind of a challenge. Well, I had 6 days of playing around. It was kind of fun.
How did your producer feel about your playing a woman on the one show?
Well, I didn't exactly play a woman. I played I played Captain Kirk, whose body was inhabited by a woman. So I had to act in a womanly fashion. Well, first of all, I wanted security.
What time's the next capsule leave? No.
Well, here he came down one day. He was outlining some of the shows that were coming up, and I said, "What about that show I'd heard about where I'm going to be a woman?" He says, "Well, we thought you wouldn't like that, so we decided not to do it." I said, "Hey, man, we got to go with that because that's, you know, I'd like to do this." That was the last show that was filmed a few weeks ago. It was the last show we did. It'll be shown sometime in the coming year, and I had to play a woman. So how do you play a woman? What do you choose? To avoid looking effeminate, you know, with the leading man image and giving the whole game away, I had to avoid.
You want to ask questions?
Well, look at that woman right there, for example, sitting like this.
Like that?
Right. Well, I mean, you've never seen Captain Kirk talk like that. So at one point, I chose in the scene to do my nails, you know, and I was talking. I talked just like this, but I was crossed my legs and did my nails, and sometimes just. I love you. And then there was another. I had to play another evil Captain Kirk. I played a Nazi. So what do you do about a Nazi? Well, a Nazi kind of militaristic, you know. So the gestures were kind of, oh God, that hurts. You know, were kind of short and sharp and militaristic. You know, kind of. This is the way you're going to do it, like this. Oh. And I kept doing that all week. You know.
It's fun, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it is kind of fun. But as I say,
that sounds like method acting, is it?
It's a form of method acting because you have to pick an image, go spontaneously with something, and use whatever you're thinking of and use it fully, and do it as authoritatively as you can. Sometimes you're wrong, you know. Sometimes you make an ass of yourself, and there you are, you know, in front of 60 minutes.
5 days a week, Bill.
That's 4 more times a week than I do.
You had to once play the part of a very old person, too. Now, how did you do that?
Well, I had to go from my present age, very young, you see, present age, to...
You are young, man.
To 24.
You think I'm going to comment on that? Crazy.
You're one of the 5 greatest singers, I know. I had to go from my own age to about 45, you know. I got this dread disease till about 60, where I played Captain Kirk, slowly aging, and meanwhile I was getting into various kinds of makeup. And then finally it was Captain Kirk at 90. But I didn't want to play old Captain Kirk. I had to fight it, you know? I had to fight being old. You are young and falling asleep.
We'll be right back as soon as we get Bill back to his regular range.